Cheap versus expensive insurance in Australia in 2024. Which one should you get? And is there a real difference as far as it comes to keeping your car safe and repairing it if something happens, those kind of things. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. I'm Dimitri. This is Bingle Car Australia. And as always, we talk about real stuff. And I do not pretend to be an insurance expert. Let me put it this time around front and center, because some of you seem to be still confused when I talk to you about my experiences, such as selling, buying cars, such as novated leasing. Some of you want to fact check and correct me. While I appreciate this, let me put it out of the way. This statement, I never pretend to be an expert. I'm just sharing my own personal journey with you and those who are willing to listen and not step into the poo that I step into, okay? So this is one of those videos about the insurance, okay? So if this resonates with you, if you're one of those real ladies or gentlemen who are part of my community, please give the video a quick like before you decide to drop out at any point in time in this video. All right. A real story today, as always. What happened to this Subaru Outback 2023 model that is on novated leasing, brand new car, but an incident happened, unfortunately, to it a few months ago, and it involved insurance, and how I went about insurance and how these revelations came about the cheap insurance versus expensive insurance. Before I jump into that bit, I guess let's just put some facts on the screen right now. So cheap insurance is something, I'm not saying this specific insurance, and please, again, fact checkers, understand that I am not sponsored by any of these companies. I'm not sponsored by any of these insurance companies, but I could be, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. I'm not going to say no, especially if I spiritually align with your company. So the cheap insurance here is what? Sometimes almost half the price of the more expensive insurance. And all we ultimately want is to make sure that our car is comprehensively covered in case something happens, obviously pays for the damages of the other person in case you are at fault, and obviously your car gets repaired in case the other person is not insured. My brother-in-law had a situation with his car, which was a write-off, by the way, and a person running into them did not have insurance. It was a nightmare. Anyway, so we do need insurance, and ultimately when we shop around for insurance, we sort of try to pick the cheaper one, obviously, yeah? Some insurance companies, such as Budget Direct, for example, is spending a ton of money. Oh my God, I don't even know what their marketing budget is, and they have these ads on TV all the time. You know what I'm talking about. Both AAMI and Budget Direct, primarily, they are two companies that are, at least in my experience, sort of dominating information space out there. They're putting themselves out there. And this is not to say that they're bad companies or whatever, even though I have a bit of reservations about Budget Direct, but it was not about car-related insurance, separate thing. So I think they're a bit overrated, but, you know, neither here or there. I look for cheaper car insurance. I have worked with Bingle Insurance, which is a Suncorp based insurance, which would make sense only of to people in Australia, I suppose, but just bear with me if you're elsewhere. The principle is probably the same. Why are they cheap? This is the question you have to ask yourself. And what is the big difference between those insurances if you choose NRMA, let's say, which is the most expensive insurance arguably in Australia, versus Bingle, let's say, as one of the cheaper ones? So these are kind of we're going to triangulate and talk about a couple of examples here, even though I have nothing against NRMA for the last time, I'm going to say to you. The biggest difference are different value-added services and different extras, such as if you are insured with an NRMA, you know that the coverage, and as far as their repair places, as far as their variety of their services available to tow you if you need to be towed, etc., are available all over Australia, and the coverage by definition is a lot larger than virtually any other insurance company. But don't fact check me because I don't know, but certainly larger than Bingle, okay? Certainly larger than Bingle. Second thing is things that are more of a human factor, such as you can call an RMA. They have very, very highly trained, very expensive, well, budget-wise per year for the company, speculatively, staff. So you can talk to them. You can talk to them. That's a big thing. If you are in distress, somebody hit you, or you hit somebody, I guess that's where that value-adding service becomes important. And so on and so forth. You can take a look at the policies, and they have a lot of bullet points, obviously, that will tell you, if you bother to read them, that With something more expensive, yes, you get more stuff. You get roadside assist if you want to, if you tick that box. You get accommodation if you are somewhere stranded. Okay, fair enough. You get a loan car. Sometimes that cost of a loan car is even built into the insurance policy that you're getting by default, unless you untick it. Then probably it's worth saying something about more niche, not necessarily more expensive, but more niche and trying to be edgy insurance companies such as Youi. Again, this is not a comprehensive insurance company review. It's an opinion on expensive versus cheap. So Youi might not be the most expensive, but it certainly is not the cheapest one either. And I tried to insure a car with them, and I pulled out of that insurance process. Not this company, not this car, but I owned a lot of cars. I did call Youi in the process, not called them. I tried to simply check the cost of the policy online. And as soon as you submit the form, whether it's convenient for you or inconvenient for you, at least at the moment of me trying it, which was like last year with one of my other cars, they call you immediately and they think that they should be proud of it. They think that they're like, oh, we're Youi, we do things a bit differently around here. And I'm like, yeah, no crap, you do things different. I didn't say it, I thought it. Oh, no crap, you do things a bit differently and it's inconvenient for me. You call me and you think that you're such heroes that you called me. Anyway, this is a rant for very much other time, but this is an example of what those other companies, they have these extra, I'm gonna loosely refer to them as infrastructures in place that they charge you for, essentially, via the policy. At the end of the day, are they any different when push comes to shove? And that push, I mean actual incident. The only difference, like I said to you, is that you can talk to one company, you cannot talk to another company. Bingle is all online. Of course, they saved a tremendous amount of money on their, they don't have human infrastructure. They have some people behind the scenes, obviously, but a lot of it is automated and a lot of it is through the web. You may or may not, my wife, for example, hates that idea. I, for example, don't mind this idea, and I still would rather pay half for the insurance premium. And statistically, my friends, unless you're a yobo, you will not have too many statistically incidents. Otherwise, insurance companies wouldn't exist. They don't want to provide all these services to you if statistically everyone had an incident once a week. Don't you think about this? Do the basic math. So, in the real life situation, being with something like Bingle is fine. And the punchline is that in Australia, let's say, if a company is legally registered as an insurance company, it's still supposed to provide the basic services you signed up for. You just need to be realistic about your needs. Cheap insurance is fine unless you need to talk to a real person, unless you live in a remote area where you know for a fact that, or you have checked that Bingle/Suncorp would not have their repairers nearby. If something happens to you in your whoop whoop somewhere, you would still need to make it to the local town and to one particular repairer, speculatively. Do you know what I mean? This is the main difference. And as a wrap up, very, very quick mention of what happened to this car and how I came to this conclusion, and welcome your feedback as always, but I share it for what it's worth, right? Well, this car initially was insured with Vero Insurance, which is for some reason that insurer of choice. I don't know who backs up Vero. You can look it up. I don't care. It's insured by Vero Insurance. That comes in a package of novated leasing. It came with the first company, with my first employer. The novated leasing company was Oryx Australia. Vero Insurance, I did not deal with them personally, but all I can tell you that from numbers, they are very expensive. Then I transferred the lease of this company to my new employer, and the new novated leasing company that I'm with right now, which is a much better company than Oryx, by the way, that novated leasing company also bakes in Vero Insurance. What happened, however, is that, as I told you in my novated leasing nightmare thing, which I still believe is a novated leasing nightmare, again, fact checkers, maybe I didn't get all the numbers right, but I was telling you my story and my perception. So thank you, but at the same time, please stop coming at me on that topic. So the transfer of the lease took over 3 months. And in that 3 months, of course, car needs to be insured still, and novated leasing on one side has expired and on another side has not started yet, as you can imagine. So this gap, I have to both pay out of pocket in terms of the financing of the car, so that's one part of it, of the inconvenience. And another thing is I had to organize insurance for that gap of 3 months, or I didn't know how long it was going to take. Well, spoiler alert, you already added 1+1, haven't you? I insured with Bingle. Vero was no longer working, so I insured with Bingle for this period of time, and I was with Bingle. Good on me, by the way, for not trying to bridge that gap with having a car not insured in that period of time. And then one sunny day, I was driving out. I was merging. He was on the road. There is a speed bump, which every single normal person slows down to. And I've been through that intersection 100 times, over the past month only, possibly. Every single normal person with the brain operational slows down there. I expected him to slow down. Yes, I was taking a turn. Yeah, but he's on the main road. Well, the idiot didn't slow down. I mean, I'm an idiot too, of course. Yeah, I take my part of accountability, but he's an idiot, okay? And he just charges and he speeds up instead of slowing down. Seeing the car turning already, like merging onto the main road and having a bump. No. He just sped up. And yeah, I nicked him a little bit on the rear panel there. So there was very minor damage to this Subaru Outback. Credit to Subaru solidity of the build. That is freaking awesome. Like there was a crack in the plastic bumper on the side. There was a little bit of a nick here. It didn't look great, especially considering that at some point I'll be selling this or returning it to the novated leasing company, whatever. Like it was unpleasant. It was very, very workable. Like it didn't look like, oh, he's driving a smashed car. Absolutely. You had to look really closely to see the damage, but it was there, okay? But the panel of that other dude, even though I nicked him just a tiny bit, was like completely smashed, and he was in a white Toyota. So again, different angle. We're not comparing apples to apples maybe here, but shameless plug, Subaru, awesome build. Amazing, okay? But because I was technically speaking at fault, let's speed up here. I had to call my insurer. I didn't call my insurer. I already told you Bingle doesn't have a call number, which is why I make it cheap. I just submitted a claim. It took a little bit of time. Their side, so he was with NRMA, but they contacted me for some details for the number of the claim number. That's it. Bingle gave me online an opportunity very easily to book a repairer in Sydney. This is where the cheapness shows, because they had only a couple to select for me, and over a rather big area. You would think that they'd have more than a couple to choose from, but there were only a couple. So I went to the city, I dropped off the car. It was a great service that I received at that MPSR people, who are also not sponsoring this video, but they could if they would like to. So I dropped off the car. Lovely lady there helped me. Awesome process. Everything is set up really, really well. So there you go. Dropped off the car. They called me Uber to drive me wherever I wanted to drive. They told me that when I need to come back to pick up the car, call them and they will book me an Uber to pick me up so that I can pick up the car. Awesome. Thank you very much. No, I didn't have a loan car in between, and they kept the car for a week, maybe to order the parts or whatever, and I would have thought that it should have gone faster, because it was like nothing. Just replace one plastic panel with another plastic panel. But okay, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Picked up the car. Everything is as new. Everything is good. And this whole thing happened between the novated leasing kind of thing. It happened in this gap, and Bingle handled it. There you go. So wrapping it up, here is a real situation for you. Unpleasant, but very, very nicely handled. Yes, I paid the premium, of course, but it still was nothing compared to the repair that I would have done. But it can happen to anyone. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I am disappointed in myself. Don't think that I'm not taking accountability once again. I am. But all I'm saying to you is, A, you need insurance. Don't even think that you don't. B, there are cheap insurances that are half price, if not even less, than some other big insurers. C, you don't need to be with a big insurer in order to receive the basic level, very, very acceptable, nice level of support in case something happens to you. So my opinion, all in all, is that cheap versus expensive insurance doesn't matter as long as you have one in Australia in 2024 anyway. You tell me now about your experiences. I love reading experiences of people. You may agree with me, you may disagree with me, you may have had horrible experience with Bingle, tell me, I don't know. But all I'm saying to you is that it's nice to operate as a community, and it's nice for you to remember that I am a real owner and not some kind of mainstream media outlet or some kind of expert that tries to profess his expertise. I'm not. I'm just sharing my real experiences with you and inviting yours in the comments down below. Thank you for watching as always. Real club here, real people. Subscribe if you're one of those people or identify as one of those real people rather than just trolls passing by. And goodbye for now. I'll talk to you next week about something else, value cars in Australia related.